as it turns out, as fate would have it, and right now the 9th National Congress, Party Congress, is happening in China. So 19 times since the reemergence of China in the modern era, the Chinese Communist Party has their meetings about every 5 years, and where everybody comes together in this massive hall, which is just really unbelievable. And I've been in halls like that, and it's really beyond ostentatious. It's just really unbelievably impressive. But they are having their meeting. And the other night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was listening to the BBC a little bit, and they were playing some audio, translating some of the audio of. Hey, who's Chinese here? Wait, how do you say his name? Xing Xiaoping. How do you say?
Xi Jinping.
Hang on. Yeah. Say it with a full accent.
Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping. How would I do?
Xi.
Jinping.
Ping. Yeah.
Ah, muy bien. Okay. So he was speaking on the first day, and once again, look, y'all. I want you to understand something. I don't have a dog in the race, so I don't have children, and because I don't have children, I'm much more free to I don't have children. B, my wife and I are really ready to just die. I mean, we're ready to die. We've accepted death, right? No. Hang on. We've accepted death, and we've accepted that our lives could go in any number of directions, and it's all good for us. We're not trying to hang on. We don't try to make money. We don't try to have power. We're really just living and very, very happy. We have a really deep love connection, and we're healthy, and that's all that matters, okay? That said, I don't have a dog in this race. I'm not worried about my children. I'm not worried about the United States. I pay taxes here, and it's all fine, and it's all what it is. But I'm really, just because of the nature of my job and what I do and how I do it, I'm very much a citizen of the world. So I have a U.S. passport. I have a certain allegiance to the country, a certain allegiance. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'm a citizen of the world. And I sit back and I'm just interested in looking at what I see is happening and transpiring, okay? So when I'm right now talking about China in the future and what things could be 10, 20, 50 years down the road, y'all, I'm not invested in that. It's an insight that I have, but I'm not invested in it. I'm not trying to tell Americans, hey, like we suck and like we're going to get taken over, and it's not about that. It's just the insight that I think I have, and I'm trying to be as objective as possible. And so here's what he said at the opening of the Congress. I just want to put some of the words out there that said it was time. Do you understand when I say I don't have a dog in this fight? Like, do you get it, right? I'm not invested. Like, whatever happens, happens. If the U.S. is on top, on the bottom, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't have kids. My lineage is not being passed on. I'm not afraid. Just whatever's going to happen is what's going to happen. So here, he said it was time for his nation to transform itself into a mighty force that could lead the world on political, economic, military, and environmental issues. So they're looking at a different place. And nations rise and fall. Nations rise and fall. So that's the nature of things. You understand, like, what happens is when you're on top, your energy goes to ensuring that you can stay on top. This is how things are, right? Whatever is the dominant ideology, the dominant music, the dominant culture, the dominant way of painting, what you do is you sort of surround yourself with opportunities to really stay where you are. Okay? But when you are the outsider, then you can allow yourself to be more creative. So this is why we don't see new genres of music and new genres of art emerging from the majority communities. It's always from the outside. You ever wonder why, like with music in the United States, it all comes from minority communities, either poor white communities or black communities or increasingly Latino communities, and now we're seeing Native American communities and so on, right? It's all because it's the outsiders. Because when you're in the middle, you have to be like everybody else. It's sort of like when you're part of a fraternity or sorority and you dress the same and you look the same and you walk the same, and it's not chance that, like I'm walking down the street. When I pass a group of people at a fraternity or sorority and they all look exactly the same, and I'm just thinking like, this is how it works. So you're in the majority, you just follow the same pattern as everybody else. But when you're on the outside, you have greater opportunities to be innovative because you don't have to constrain yourself with the ways of thinking and ways of being that happen in the majority. So the outsiders can be much more creative. This is the nature of culture. Cultural change always happens from the outside in, not from the inside out. So anyway, then he says the Chinese nation has stood up, grown rich, and become strong. And it now embraces the brilliant prospects of rejuvenation. It, as in this coming, will be an era that sees China moving closer to center stage and making greater contributions to humankind. It's like, of course, man. Of course. This is the nature of it. And if you follow, you see this is exactly what China is doing. At the same time that we have a president and two political parties that are drawing circles around, putting walls around us. The Chinese are busting out. They're in Africa. They're all over Asia. They're in Europe. They're buying up in the United States. They're innovating in new forms of technology and stuff. And our technology companies are suing each other to see who can have the greatest amount of profit, i.e. building the walls. And the Chinese are just going, take the lid off it, man, go. And so we are like this world, this system that's trying to really protect what we have. And they're saying, no, we're not protecting what we have. We want to be where they are, only further ahead. It's utterly fascinating. Without directly mentioning Trump, he noted how China had, quote, taken a driving seat in international cooperation to respond to climate change. We have a president who is saying climate change, we don't know how important it is, and we have no idea how much human activity is involved in it. Meanwhile, the Chinese, they took, I think it was 500 or 5,000, I think it was 500, of their most brilliant scholars who study the environment. They pulled them out of the university. They all got involved in doing this research. It was like a 3-year project. They produced an 800-page report, as objectively speaking as possible, and they concluded, without a doubt, if we don't address climate change, the entire world is just going to spin down the tubes, and especially China. China, cannot continue the way we are continuing unless we deal with climate change, which is why they say no more coal, no more natural gas. We're going with all renewables. Meanwhile, what we have as a system and people in power, we're going with more coal and more natural gas and claiming that climate change doesn't exist. I mean, this is crazy. So he added, only by observing the laws of nature can mankind avoid costly blunders in its exploitation. Any harm this sounds Native American, by the way. Remember DJ and Amen? So listen to this. Any harm we inflict on nature will eventually return to haunt us. This is the reality we have to face. And I'm thinking, man, I got to learn more Chinese. Because if I live long enough, I'm going to have to deal with this, with the new people in control. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I'm not really wrong. I might be just off by a few years. But that's what's coming. And a few years ago, I was saying, listen, China can't they're never going to be able to move forward because the 95% of their waterways are polluted. I mean, this is insane. They have just like gone crazy just with coal. You can't, with the pollution in China and the polluted water and polluted air. And what the Chinese did was, and this is what's different, they right there in that room, the fearless party leader just said, no, there's no question here. This is what we're doing. We're going to clean the air and we're going to clean the waterways, and nobody's going to get in our way, and nobody got in the way. Here, Trump just pulled money out of cleaning Lake Erie. It's like now everybody's suing everybody else and trying to decide if that's a good idea. They don't decide if that's a good idea. We're cleaning our waterways, and we're going to clean them. And that's what's going on, and get out of our way. Nobody even questions it. They're going to clean the waterways. They're going to clean the air. And so it's like, and so I don't say that anymore because Chinese waterways are cleaning up. The air is getting clean. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. So y'all, like, what I'm offering is just, it's worth going to the other side of the world, not literally necessarily, but go to the other side of the world and just look at it from the other perspective. It's utterly fascinating, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, this is just my thing here a little bit, all right? Are we cool?